Hope everybody's doing good. I've been doing a lot of projects this morning, and I decided to go ahead and start my Christmas journal, which I'm just starting the cover. So I'll start with that, and then I'll show you probably step by step, but it will take a few minutes for it to dry and everything, but I wanted to go ahead and start. So I'm going to use this Christmas wrapping paper, just left over from last year. So I just need a piece of that. I cut me 2 pieces for my front and back of my journal. I cut out of recycled chipboard. Now this chipboard is out of a heavier box than cereal boxes, so it's kind of heavier weight chipboard. So I cut it, well, looks like I cut this one 6 1/4 by 7 1/4, maybe something like that. Doesn't really matter. So I ended up cutting 2 pieces for the front and back. And then I'm going to make the spine a little bit different. This is going to be a tied, where I wrap and tie the journal and then maybe put some beads and stuff on it, on the spine. So the spine pieces are small. So I cut them, looks like about 2 by 4 1/4. So then I took my ruler here that shows the center 0, and then it goes out from there. And I found the center of each one of these, and I marked the center with a marker right there on each one of these. And then I found the center of the spines. So I'm going to lay these out and put these 2 together. Now I made 2 pieces because I like my spines a little bit heavier. But the first thing I'm going to do is line these up and make sure they line up, and then put just a little bit of space between them. Maybe 1/4 of an inch or something like that. Make sure they're even at the bottom. And then I'm going to take a piece of recycled tie back, which is you can get from a mailing envelope or something, and this stuff, you can't tear it. Anyway, so I'll lay this down, and then I'm going to take some Yes paste. I like this Yes paste. It sticks really good, and it holds really good once it's dried. I'm spreading this all over this tie back. And you don't need very much. It needs to be kind of thin. Now I need to make sure my things are lined up again the way they should be. All right, then I just lay this on top of it. It's not like glue. I mean, you can pull it up and move it if you need to. So I wanted to see that they'll fold up good, and they do. Then I'm going to put just a little bit more on this spine piece, and then just put that on top of this one. And just kind of push it down. All right, now I need to put just a light amount of this Yes paste on the whole book. Again, it doesn't need to be very thick at all. Basically, just put it on and scrape most of it off. All we're going to do now is turn the whole thing upside down on our paper we're working on. And gray it down. All right, then turn it over. And one thing about Yes paste, you don't have the bumps in it like you do other wet glues. You do need to make sure that you close this up good, and you keep, again, take the baby wipe, wipe off the outside, because if you get paste on the outside, sometimes you can stick your lid down. And then I just take my baby wipe and make sure I get my tools cleaned up. Throw that away before I get more sticky on me. And all I'm doing now is waiting for this to dry. After it dries, I will show you our next step. It will take a while for it to dry. It takes quite a while, actually. All right, see you in a bit. We've got this dry now. First thing is, I'm just going to give it about 1 inch or so around it. So, to get rid of all this excess stuff that we don't need to work with right now. Okay, so I'm going to trim up here and here, and then fold this in. But before we do that, I want to put some more stuff on the cover. Yeah, you can see through some of this paper was probably torn or whatever. It was old Christmas paper, so it could have had tape pulled off of it. It doesn't matter. Plus you can see through the cereal box or cracker box, whatever. But what I have is, I have 3 different kinds of this glitter. I have the red and green and white. Doesn't matter if it's crumpled. I think it's going to be better if it's crumpled. So I want to crumple this up, and then I'm just going to tear pieces of it off and just randomly cover this whole thing. And I don't know how much of it we'll need. We'll need enough to cover all of it. So I'm just going to give it a crumple. So I want it to have that crumply look. And then we're just going to tear off pieces of it. And you know, we all have so much glue that we've bought on sale or whatever, and I went and found all these different kinds of glue. I have some glue here probably bought at Tuesday Morning. I have some more. I have some stuff I got from the Dollar Tree. I have some Mod Podge I got from the Dollar Tree. Some glue that evidently I like this glue really well because it's almost gone, but I'm going to just try to use up some of this stuff. So I've got not much in that one. I have some water too. I'm going to pour some water down in this one and see if there's anything in there that needs to be used up. And I'm just going to use whatever glue we have. Mostly water, so I don't think there's anything left in that one. Well, there is some. So, like I said, I want to use up everything I have, because we keep collecting all these bottles of glue and everything and never use up the ends of them. Just use what we got and see if we can glue these pieces of tissue down in just a random form. Okay, with the glitter side up, obviously. But I don't mind if it has some wrinkles in it. And that's all I'm going to be doing for a little while. Okay, I've made it back. We've got our book all nice and dry. It's been a few days. Still trying to use up any glue I have left. I have some tacky glue here. Hopefully there's some in here. Oh yeah, there's some. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty tacky. Let's do it that way. Then add a little water to it. Might have to sacrifice a paintbrush for this, but we're going to use up all this glue. Put some glue on each one of these corners to start with, and turn the corners up. Let's see, find my bone folder and kind of get those corners turned down like this. Any extra stuff that needs turned up, and that's all we're going to do to start with. Is just turn those corners in. And then I'm going to add glue down through here and turn this up. That's all we're doing. And if there's any of that tissue paper that needs to be rolled over, just roll it over with it. There we go. Now for the centers here, I'm going to cut these at an angle going this direction. And try to cut them up into the corner there. And then I'm going to turn this up this way. Adding glue all over that. Then I'm just going to roll this over like this, pulling that up in there. And then these corners, I may have to trim them off a little bit. Yep, I'm going to trim that off. I'm just going to roll this corner up like this. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue all over this corner here. All over that. And then just roll that paper up like that. Mashing down the sides. And then add some more glue on that, and then just roll this paper in like this. There we go. And then all the way across the bottom. Again, I put a little bit of glue on top of that because some of that tissue paper is not stuck down on that section as well as it could be. And I'll do the same all the way around. There we go. All right, let's turn this over and see what we got here. Okay, so I want to give it a little bit of antique, and I found this Tim Holtz Distress Paint, but it's an antique bronze. So I'm going to see how this works. We need a wet paper towel. And then I'm just going to spread this antique bronze on here. Makes it shine a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to take my wet paper towel and I'm going to wipe a lot of it off. Buff it up a little bit. Maybe I'll add a little bit more up in here in this corner. So, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it gives it a little bit of a sheen, but it also just takes it down into all those valleys and cracks of the tissue paper. I'm going to finish up like this. Put this antiquing on here. Okay, so there's our antiquing background for our book. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to start looking for the pages to put inside here, our cover pages, and then we'll start looking for our signatures. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found and cut a couple of front and back covers out of some Christmas paper. And then I went ahead and cut the piece to go in the center. But I've decided, since I was doing that antiquing, I've decided to go ahead and, before I put these end pages down, to go ahead and put some of this antiquing paint around the outer edges. So I've just put this down on a piece of scrap paper, and I've just, with my paintbrush, just going in, just randomly putting around some of this antiquing down around my pages here. So now we're going to get ready to glue the end pages down. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put another piece of the tie back in the center here. Just another piece to strengthen. Glue that in there. And I'm just going to put that on there, and then take my bone folder and push it down, kind of putting that tie back down into the creases of the folds of the book, of the cover there. All right, now I'm going to put the center cover down here. So I need some glue on it. Again, I want to crease these spines here where the book will fold. Let's try that. Pick that up. I want to make sure that's going to fold in like that. Now, we'll decide which one we want on the front and the back. I think I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, I want to do it this way. So I'm going to cover this whole thing with glue. I should cover the paper. I think that would work better. I'll move that back and just cover the whole paper with the glue. Make sure I get the corners. All right. Then we're just going to put this on here. Okay, now we'll glue this all down. You know, leave comments below if you're trying to use up your supplies. Tell me which one of your supplies you've got that you've had around for a long time and you're trying to use up. Maybe it's glue, maybe it's just some paper, a paper pad that you're trying to use up. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's some stickers. Stickers is another thing that I never get used up. I tore that a little bit, but if I put it up there, I will be able to put something else, some kind of decoration or something on there. All right, here's our book cover, finished. Oh, well, that's on the bottom, but that will be okay too. I'm going to go ahead and find some paper to put in here and make the signatures. I'm also going to add some trim in here to cover up some of these little pieces like this. So there'll be some trim in there. But I don't know. I may end up, while I'm thinking about it, I may end up just putting that bronze all over this whole thing. I think that bronze color is pretty. And then I will be back. Okay, off camera, I went ahead and did cover the whole thing inside with this bronze, antique bronze distress paint. And then I've just wiped it down. So I went to find some paper to make our signatures out of. And I came across this paper pad that I've had for several years. And I've used a lot of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a bunch of this paper and use it for our signatures, which our signatures need to be, and they won't all be the same size. So I'm going to use up a lot of the paper. So there's going to be paper that's going to be full size, which is, say 7 tall by almost 6. Let's get a piece of paper out of here. Oh, try that one. But I can cut it 7 inches tall and then just fold it in half, which would make the signature. Again, I'm going to cut a bunch of paper just like that, and then the rest of the piece up here that's going to be left, I will end up using them too. I'm going to probably use maybe some ink dyed paper, some coffee paper. I'm not sure what all I have. So this spine is 2 inches, and I think I want to make 5 signatures. So we're going to cut a bunch of paper and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to come back and show you real quickly what I'm doing right now. I just started tearing out chunks of paper. I didn't even go through it and sort it or anything. It's all the way it came out of the book. I just took the paper out of the book. On the side, I cut off about 1/2 inch. So I took and chopped off about 1/2 inch of all of the sides of them. Then I turned it this way and I cut 7 inches for my main pages. That leaves me the remainder here, which also I'm going to end up putting in the book. So these are a lot of my pages for my signatures, and then I will fold these in half and get ready to add other papers along with it, and I should have my signatures ready. Okay, I've got all my scrapbook paper folded in half, and these will be my pages. I decided just to leave the white in this book. I can add a lot of other paper and stuff like that, so it's going to have a lot of white pages in it. I did find this little Christmas coloring book, so I've added a few of those pages in my book just for a little bit of interest. All right, now I'm going to show you how I've got to cut my pages in order for them to fit in this spine. So I took a piece of cardboard, and this is about, the spine is about a 4 1/4, I think. So I'll cut a piece of cardboard 4 inches, and then I just took my ruler. So I just found the center of that and marked it. So then I've taken onto my glass mat here, and I've just marked the ends of this, where I want the end of my book pages to end up, and then I've marked the center of it. That's the length that I need to make the openings for my spines. And then I just lay them down one at a time, and I just even it up with my grid here, and I mark the ends of the page that I need to cut. And I do this with each individual page. And this is glass mat, so with a little bit of alcohol, it'll wipe right off. And then I just take a little sliver off of that, off of each page. Just cut a little notch, basically. And this is how your pages will end up. So I'll be back again in a minute. Well, I finally got down to the reason I wanted to make this kind of journal, so I can put the beads and stuff on it. First thing is, I've got the pages all cut where the ribbon or the string is going to go in like this. And then we're going to tie it into the journal. Okay, so I've got 5 signatures. So you take this out, start with 1. So I'm going to just start with turning this over and getting ready to tie in these signatures. But I'm going to put beads and buttons and embellishments on that. I've had this little jar of Christmas embellishments for a very long time and have never found a good way to use them. So this is all little Christmas buttons and other little Christmas embellishment. So I think I'm going to put some bigger buttons, but in order to do that, I probably need some filler. So I did those paper beads out of the remainder pieces of paper, and then I put clear nail polish on those. And then I've also got some little red beads and green beads. So I have my yarn threaded through my needle. So I'm going to start with a red bead. So I think I'll start with a snowflake. Now I need to make sure that all of my little things go one direction. Now I think between each one of the items I'm going to put a paper bead or some kind of a bead. So I'm just going to string some little things on here, and we'll see how this all works. All right, let's see how this is looking. Obviously, everything I put something big, I'm going to have to put a bead or something to hold between it. Is that going to be enough? Or do I need one more? I think it's going to be enough when I pull it tight. Okay, so I'm going to have to pull this really tight in order to tie this. Just put the first loop in there and we'll get started on that. Let me go back and see if I needed anything else. Well, it looks like we probably do need one more. Maybe I'll add another snowflake on there, just a small one. Okay, and I have to pull it really tight in order for it to keep the pages in there. For that snowflake to stand up, I'm going to need another bead on it. Okay, so that's my first signature. Let's see how that works. right, so I'm probably not going to put this much on everyone. So the next one, I'm probably just going to put all a row of just beads and paper beads and regular beads, and then another row, and then I'm going to put another row of these over here on this end. So let me get these beads tied on, and I'll show you how our journal looks when we get it done. Okay, I think I've done it. I've gotten all these signatures sewn in with a string of beads and buttons. So I did rearrange them, which is easy to do. I had this row in the front, so I just scooted it back and then put this row in the front because I didn't like the way this was hanging over the whole book. And I've got 5 signatures. This one's got little snowflakes and beads and some white seed beads, which was quite a challenge to get enough of those to put through my needle. And then this row, and then I'll have a row in here, which are just paper beads and some glass beads. And then I have a row of the bigger buttons. And then the last row is some little, I don't know, little glittery candy drops, I guess, and gold beads. So, alrighty. I think I've got them sewn in pretty tight. I have an idea of how I'm going to use this book. I would like to do it as a Christmas memory book. When you pull a Christmas tree out and start doing it in your decoration, maybe you'll find just an ornament that you want to memory keep about. So anyway, that's what I'm considering using this book for. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and share. Subscribe if you're not already. Thank you very much for watching.